Hello Harstem. I think Protoss is imbalanced. In this game I decided to use a rather late 3-Rex created by Clem, after defending a proxy gate opener for which I scouted from seeing a late gas and no second pylon in my opponent's base. I then attacked assuming that the Protoss did not yet have blink, and I managed to kill several stalkers, walk up to my opponent's third and destroy it. However, as in most games after the 3-Rex push, even after being beat up, the Protoss player manages to just climb back up easy peasy and I lose. So Captain, is Protoss imbalanced? Or do I just suck? This imbalanced complaint form was sent in by Medic, a Terran player from the North American server in the Masters League with 4100 and 41 MMR. So let's figure it out. Is it imbalanced? Or does he suck? Alright my dear friends, here we go then. Medic versus Marcus. A Terran versus Protoss. The good guys versus the bad guys. As we're gonna have a look to see what Medic is doing. He mentioned a build here, a late 3-Rex, which he copied from Clem. And that sparked my curiosity. I'm a huge Clem fan. I copy most of my builds from Clem. I'm familiar with almost anything that Clem does, with all of his work, you know, online, offline, in Twitch chats. When he's there, I am paying attention. I'm writing it down. I'm taking notes. This is definitely something that Clem hasn't done, I think. What is this? It's an early scout, not an eBay block. Yeah, this scout timing definitely hasn't been copied from Clem because this doesn't exist, okay? He sees the gate or the late gas. Hopefully he saw the 17 Nexus as well, right? He understood that this was a fast Nexus. So this is what is known as the parting 17 Nexus opener. Most frequently going into a proxy pylon, proxy gate, 5 or 6 at depth pressure. I think the original build is. This is an extremely powerful build that Parting made about 2.5, 3 years ago or so and executed with great success. Phenomenal little build. Love to see it. It is pretty strong in eco. The only downside of it is that it's very easy to scout. The single gas is a dead giveaway as well as the fast Nexus. And the lack of a second pylon is also kind of a dead giveaway. So here the SCV is scouting. It's going to find the probe. And there's a Reaper on the map which could also be used for scouting, but instead is being used for... well, not denying a probe, at least for now. Now maybe to deny the pylon. No, also not. Could maybe go attack the pylon now that we found the gateway, but that doesn't seem to quite be on the menu here for Medic. Surprising, throws down a bunker. Tech lab. Probably wants to go for concussive shells. Reaper into Marine into tech lab. Into concussive shells. I'll actually eat a freaking shoe if Clem has ever played this build. Here we go, boys. There's legitimately no way that this is a Clem build. The only time Clem plays a build with Reaper into Marauder, Reaper Marine into Marauder, is if he plays against a proxy gate before Nexus. That is the only time that I've seen him do this. This is not a build that I've seen him do in any other situation. Because the moment you use the tech lab for concussive shells, it means your stim or combat is going to be seriously delayed. So I can't imagine Clem actually doing this. I just can't. He's gonna get stim now or combat, I guess, one of the two. Still on a single gas, fast eBay as well. How are you gonna afford your combat shield then is what I wanna know. Here come the 5 adepts. I also love that Medic pretended like it wasn't this was like some brilliant hold, you know? It's like I found the proxy base, the proxy gate. But then honestly, this is not such a great defense if you figure it out 2 minutes in and then you're still struggling at holding. Like this is what we would consider a successful attack from the Protoss side of things. Because this is good eco for the toss. If you do any amount of damage like this, your trades are semi-even, I think you're going to be just fine. You've seen that this guy is building freaking Marauders. This is a dream scenario. At the Masters level, hell yeah. It's going double reactor. I'm gonna message Clem. All right, I asked Clem and he doesn't know this build. So that either means that Medic had a very vivid dream in which Clem told him this build, which is theoretically possible. Clem is a little bit like a religious figurehead in a way. You know, people often have dreams about like Mary and like a pumpkin or something. They're seeing these faces, or like Jesus, you know, in the shape of a sandal. It's possible that Terran players around the world are being visited by Clem in their dream. What I think is more like...
Mon fils va juste de marauder rush en concussive en 2 Richter Barak dans ton prochain TVP.
In their dream. What I think is more likely what happened here is that Medic has a friend in real life that is called Clem as well, and this guy showed him this build. I think that is not entirely fair to do it like that. I'll draw a comparison. I have a viewer of my stream, a frequent viewer, someone that also messages in the stream and donates as well, who's called Kevin Hart, spelled exactly like the Kevin Hart who is a famous movie star. If I then would tell my friends in real life, yeah, Kevin Hart tells me good morning from Milwaukee, like every other day or so, they'd be like, ah, come on. I'm like, no, really. And then they pass on that story to other people. And then when these people come to me and say, hey, is it true that you're good friends with Kevin Hart? And I say, oh, good friends. I mean, we talk frequently. And then I show them the messages of a guy wishing me good morning from Milwaukee while sending me $5 or $10. I think they might believe that they've been tricked, you know? It doesn't feel honorable. And I feel the same here with this build. I can't imagine Clem playing a 6-minute timing without +1, no combat shield, double reactor, while opening with 3-4 Marauders as well. This is not Clem's build. He didn't make this. Whatever you think you saw is not what you actually saw. If this is from a Clem replay. That's all a wild trade. He's gonna lose everything here. Overall, resources lost is good for Medic. He's downing workers by quite a bit though. Lost a couple in the early game, and not sure if he hadn't been producing properly, but it feels like he's lacking something. He also is saving up some use. Oh, there we go. Well, that explains. I was like, man, we have little supply here. I don't quite know why. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's going wrong. You just know that something is wrong, you know? Something feels weird. It's like the AI images. You know, something feels a bit eerie. You know, you can sniff that something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And then eventually you spot the fact that there's like 5 arms or something, or someone has like 3 eyes and they're all looking at a different direction. And the classic triple nulls. It's the same here. I don't quite entirely know what went wrong. I just know that something went wrong because I see the result here. Because these were generally okay trades up until this point for the Terran player. But he's down 10 supply. And now he's just not mining for quite a while, which isn't helping. He's losing in income despite being technically up in workers because he has the triple mule available. There's just something horribly wrong here. There's absolutely something horribly wrong. Ooh, he's going to lose 2 medevacs. That is not great either. It's going to delay his potential push out. Clearing the Nexus is very fun, but it only really helps you if you are then out-mining your opponent in some way. And during this entire time, the Protoss actually was even or slightly ahead. Now that the mules have been dropped, I guess we're going to see a small spike here for Medic. 3rd CC still hasn't landed. So once again, great that you have 60 workers, but look at the oversaturation here. Look at the... well, I was going to say oversaturation here, but there's no ever oversaturation because we have 7 SCVs just idling next to a bunker, which I guess makes sense because they're not going to be mining anything extra. But checking out these worker counts is deceptive. It's not fair. I also believe that it's time to kind of, you know, cut the head of the snake here. Because it feels like we just keep adding on more and more units that shouldn't really be viable. I don't think if there's 4 medevacs out and you have Stim Combat Shield, that a pure Stalker army or slow Zealot should be capable of stopping you. I hope we're going to see a little bit of Stim. Okay, we get a Stim. Maybe even a little bit of Micro here so we can catch more Zealots. Or we can stand next to the flowers here. It's also a good move, of course. There's a lot of people that come to the Netherlands just to stand next to nice smelly flowers. We have this thing called the Keukenhof. And their entire... Their shtick is basically is that they have loads of flowers. I went there once and it was legit just flowers. Paid like freaking $30 to enter it. It was garbage. Don't even like flowers. Not sure why I decided to go there. Either way, flowers are okay. Just don't pay a $30 ticket to visit them. 30 euros it was, by the way. It's like $33 for the Americans. There's some nice zealot run-bys. I wonder where all of these zealots are coming from. Probably nothing to do with the gateway that has been positioned here since minute 3. Probably nothing there. Now that we have cleared up these stalkers, surely it is time to finally take care of this gateway that is continuously sending units in here and delaying our move out, which I think at this point we just straight up win the game, by the way. If we ever get across the map with 10 marauders, 15 marines, 5 mines and a ghost against 14 stalkers and 82 probes, I think it might be reasonable to expect a Terran victory here. Especially given the fact that he also has 1-1. So despite the fact that in the early stages of the mid-game, it felt like everything sucked, once the third actually got saturated, situation is fine. Upgrades are fine. Let's just maybe clear the freaking gateway here and start moving across the map and do something with the 15 supply lead that we have right now. It's going to catch some of these stalkers. It's actually going to go across the map. It's going to get surprised once the zealot warp in, starts running into his third base again. Actually, if he gets to walk across the map, he still wins. This is a legit free win. I don't quite understand how we're going to lose it. It's always a fun mini-game. Is that I can imagine scenarios in my head how this Terran is planning on losing this game. Because I find it difficult to see. Oh, a zealot run by into the third. That's crazy. How could have anyone seen this coming? How could you? You need a degree in looking into the future. And that degree doesn't exist. And thus it's impossible. God. I wonder if this gateway has anything to do with it. Yeah, probably not. Okay. Let's ignore the prism in our main base as well. And start moving across the map again. We could send 3 Vikings into the main to deal with the prism. We could also let this zealot warp in. Continue on. Almost went to the gateway this time. Only took him 8 minutes to figure that out. This guy's legit like a freaking cat or like a dog. Just chasing whatever's interesting in the moment. Oh, that's a nice looking red dot over there. Wonder where it's gonna go. His toss is just running in like 5 different directions. I'm not even... the worst part is that the traits for the toss aren't even good. The toss is also not... it's not microing. It's also not macroing behind it. The toss is floating about 5k resources right now. It's playing an active game and has a lot of freaking eco. But it's now going for triple Robo Colossus, which is honestly kind of a cool move. It's adding a lot of gateways. Like, if this game continues like this for another minute or so, I actually believe that this toss is going to be up freaking 60 supply. Theoretically, the toss has been outplaying the Terran, except for the fact that the toss hasn't macroed for a single second. Now we're going to get a Stalker warp in. I mean, this is bordering on arrogance at this point. This is bordering on arrogance. Like, warping Stalkers into a morphing planetary while you know that the army is nearby. That is a very French move, my dear friend. That is not okay. 2 little observers here spotting the same location as well. Got 2-2 on the way. Upgrades are slightly better for medic. Maybe now we can move across the map. We have a planetary set up. We finally cleared the gateway. Life is good. Legit took him, I think it's 9 or 10 minutes to clear that gateway. He was aware of it from like 2 minutes into the game. He scouted it practically instantly. The gateway wasn't even finished yet when it got scouted. But that gateway did get to grow old. Get to see surroundings and the world changed around him while he remained the same, in the same location. Saw zealots and stalkers be warped in. Heard stories of Colossus being morphed at home. And now medic moves across the map and is just winning extremely hard. Zealot run by once again coming in. This toss is good at the run bys. Continuously sending them in. That's really nice. We get a couple of kills here. Look at that. Prism at the same time here, waiting to go into the natural. This is a bad looking army. There's no battery here either. This is a good looking army. If we hit some EMPs, that should absolutely be game. And I am starting to become more and more worried that medic might just be upset even after winning the game. I sometimes get these replays where people, they have an imbalanced complaint that they send in, and then I make a fun video about it, and then at the end it's like, psych, I actually won the game, but I'm still upset. It's like, oh, great trick you played there on me. Thanks for not wasting 35 minutes of my time in your mass battlecruiser game. Yeah, Zealot's here clearing an entire base. This game is legit over. And I'm not really seeing a way for Medic to throw this. Now I have a DT. Ooh. DTs. That's 1 unit, that's 2 units, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Ooh, now we get the scan. It only took him 70% of his army. It's like in a horror movie. If like 4 out of the 5 characters, or 3 out of the 5 characters, 3.5 out of the 5 characters suddenly disappear out of nowhere. The other guy by himself going like, yeah, looks fine. And once the second half of the fourth person's body starts being removed, then all of a sudden, wait a second, there might be a killer here among us. Make horror movies a lot shorter when it's such a high pace. That was a extremely bad fight. And also scans definitely were available because he's continuously floating energy. Like he still is floating energy at this point, so he definitely had the scans. He just wasn't paying attention to the one fight that mattered, which is unfortunate. Despite that though, I still believe we're in a, I don't want to say a significant lead, but we're probably still in a lead. I want to see how many Vikings we have. We have 4 Vikings. That might be too low. Our ghost count is at 4, which I think is enough. All we really need is 4 more Vikings. And this is a winning game, if you ask me. Absolutely. This is a winning game. Loving the second planetary here as well, by the way. It's being built here at the 4th. A sick move. In case the first planetary was about to be attacked, you have a... It's not a backup planetary, but this is like the what do you call it if it's in front of it? It's like a shield. The shielding planetary. It's not really a backup. This is the first one that should go down. The backup is the real one. Which makes no sense, but it is how it works in life sometimes. Ooh, Vikings in a good spot. Medic actually still winning in a big way. Zealot's now gonna come in for the 17th time. Ghost plus turret, not in the right spot. I'm gonna try to move in. Ooh, misses both. This is a move. Ladies and gentlemen, I've spotted the move of the day. We're gonna just go through this in slow motion. Hamster, hit the slow-mo button. That's crazy. How do you miss both at the same spot? Why would you send both unless you knew you were gonna miss it? 1 EMP is enough to drain the shields. So it must have been a common occurrence that the first EMP gets missed. He just blankets the same unit twice. I've never seen something like this in my life. It also looks like these ghosts are shooting the wrong thing if you see where their guns are pointed. Obviously they're shooting the prison. It looks like they're shooting exactly where their EMP went. Maybe it's a bug in the game. And here I am flaming Medic for no real reason.
Hey, editor here. What I think happened after a quick analysis is that Mr. Medic clicked directly on the unit with the EMP, which does not work. Because it's a flying unit and StarCraft 2 doesn't have a top-down view. So obviously the angled camera will show flying units a little bit higher or a little bit more north than they are. This is why we have this bottom indicator. If you click a little bit lower on the unit, or even better on the ground indicator of the unit, you will always hit it, as you can also see by the red shining of the unit. Even down here, you would hit it. We can make that even more obvious by just zooming in a little bit, because if I click on the unit now, it will fire all the way up there. Because of the angled camera, right? But if I click down here, it will hit because of the angled camera.
That's a terrible defense. Let me just pull back my entire army again. Love it. Absolutely love it. Man, I wish there was a pattern in this. I wish we could have seen this coming in any way. I wish we could build turrets in better locations. Or maybe get a sensor tower so that the minimap shows us what's kicking off. Send his entire army into the main. Vikings now looking for a prism. That is already back home. Ooh, the backup planetary here is being killed. First the backup, then the real one. The real one's gonna stay alive for now. Zealot's still around in the main, by the way, just hanging around. Prism's gonna go back in. I'm not sure where. It's gonna go in the natural, I like that. A random mind. This is a hell of an observer as well. If this spot ever becomes useful in this game, Marcus is going to have the best vision on that spot. The absolute best. At this point, I wonder if Medic can still win. 6 Vikings. Same upgrades. Good ghost count. Like, the army supply is really freaking big, and all he needs to do is win 1 fight. I actually think this is winning. Like, if you move across the map right now. I love that he's aware of the fact that he's at least playing against 4 bases. He's currently on 37 workers, and there's no general sense of urgency here either. It's like, yeah, I think it's probably better to wait for my next wave of 2 Marines, while my opponent is pumping out 3 Disruptors out at a time. You know, it's like, in what world is this a good call? Not in the real world, let me tell you that much. Planetary now under attack. This is the time where Medic decides that let's just go for the base trade. Full on base trade. Speed of the essence here. Suddenly we do have the urgency. Actually, if it goes to the main, that would be sick. Yeah, that's pain. That's pain. I don't know what to tell you here. You know? In a base trade, where units are spawning from every side, it might be wise to look at your army, or we might have another, you know, a DT problem, or a Purification Nova problem. I actually think he could have won this otherwise. It's gonna be hard because there's still like 5 more Disruptors or 6 more Disruptors here, but I mean, you can imagine a world in which the Terran actually doesn't end up winning if he micros at any point against the Purification Novas. That's so crazy. Protoss. And I think this is pretty much my entire feeling about this game. Is the way that Medic spelled Protoss here is pretty much how he's played as well this entire time. It's just kind of wrong, it's sloppy. It's not caring for properly cleaning it up. Not having good turret ring around your bases. Not taking out that gateway at any point. Not paying attention to half of your army disappearing. That might actually have been a very key moment. People look at this game and wonder, where did it go wrong? And 4ETs killing 15 units could be a factor in the game, perhaps. I wonder if Medic looks back at this game, if he thinks he played the perfect setup. This is nothing he could have improved on. This is Protoss on there. Protoss garbage. Gateway there for 10 minutes. Yeah, maybe a small issue. DT's killing 30 supply. Yeah, small issue. 2 Purification Novas while I'm in a base trade, and all I have to pay attention to is my army. Purification Novas killing 50 supply in 3 seconds. Yeah, maybe a small issue. Like, this is very little to do with Protoss, and very much to do with your lack of attention to... It's not even details, because these are kind of big things, like your army, or the reinforcement spot of a Protoss player. Like, this is the meat of the meal. This is and the potatoes, and the vegetables. You know how sometimes when you go to these fancy restaurants, and they put like the drops of whatever sauce it is, and it looks all nice, and it's like a chocolate mousse on the side, and it looks like a peacock on, you know. They say, whoa, that's beautiful. Like, this is not even the type of stuff we're talking about. Like, you served me raw potatoes, and then I gave your restaurant a 1-star review, and you said I'm an idiotic customer. It's like, mate, cook the freaking potatoes, brother. The issue is with you here, not with Protoss. So, Medic, you suck, and that's just the way it is. That's going to be it for me today. I hope you all enjoyed this phenomenal episode of IODIS. If you too thought it was phenomenal, then be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out some old episodes of IODIS. People in the comments always tell me that the old ones were better back when Harstem still was funny, had more hair and a youthful look in his eyes. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you all had a brilliant time. Ciao, ciao.